Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Harrison, and today we are talking about Zelda, Nintendo, specifically the 35th anniversary of Zelda. Now we already know Skyward Sword's coming out here in July, and they just announced that amiibo, which is gorgeous, by the way. I really want the amiibo. Unfortunately, it's been sold out everywhere. I'm sure, mostly from scalpers, but what can you do, right? My question is, do we think Nintendo is going to take advantage of Zelda's 35th anniversary? I thought they did a pretty great job with Mario's. They had a lot of merch that you can buy. You know, they had the compilation of the three 3D Mario games, and then they had the Bowser's Fury that came alongside of 3D World, which was great, by the way. Shortly thereafter, we got the announcement of Zelda Skyward Sword, and a lot of people were upset. I think mainly just because they wanted, probably the rumored 3D collection for Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time, but we got this instead, and it makes sense to start off the 35th anniversary with this game because it's technically the first game in the timeline, so it makes sense, and it's been 10 plus years since that game came out on the Wii, so people were upset, but I can understand why. But I'm not too upset about it. It's good to have that game back. That's the only Zelda game that I never fully finished, just because I hated the motion controls. I thought they were absolutely terrible. But I'm glad we had the option to play with controls, with regular control joysticks, I should say. So I'm happy about that. I know people were upset about the $60 price point. It's a Nintendo tax, man. We're kind of all used to this. More games that are on other consoles are more expensive on the Switch just because it's Nintendo, and I guess I'm not really sure why the games aren't usually don't even run as well on the other consoles. So it's funny that they're more expensive for some of those, but what can you do, right? So the price point I'm not too upset about. It's what, the second time that this game has ever been released, so it's not like they had a Wii U port and now they're reporting it to the Switch. So I'm okay with that, and it being a standalone. What kind of peeves me a little bit is the Skyloft Amiibo that they announced. It's $25. It's, I believe, the most expensive Amiibo that they have released to this date. I know the Guardian Amiibo was 20 for the Breath of the Wild series, and I think all the other figures in that series were, I think, $16. And most amiibos since then have been about that price. They've kind of gone up and down depending on which amiibos are, but typically the Zelda ones are the most expensive. So that is my issue. Is not only it's an expensive amiibo before scalping prices for it, but it's got a huge paywall for honestly a great addition to the game, being able to kind of fast travel up into Skyloft at any point during the game. That's such a huge improvement, and I cannot believe that Nintendo. Well, I can believe it, but I cannot believe that Nintendo would put this feature into an amiibo when, for the most part, kind of the amiibo functionality has been not bad, but it just gives you little items here and there for their whatever games that support it. So it's a huge feature that stuck behind this. Not only is it stuck behind a $25 paywall within the amiibo, but also, how hard is this thing going to find when it's released? It's already sold out everywhere. Scalpers are already on top of it. I really hope that they kind of mass produce this thing. They've been doing a pretty good job with like the Mario amiibos, and the some of the other Zelda amiibos. You can definitely find the figures, the four heroes from Breath of the Wild. You can find pretty regularly. I know the only three that were kind of impossible to find were the Majora's Mask, Skyward Sword, and the Wind Waker. Was it the Wind Waker amiibo? There's something else. A Twilight Princess amiibo. Those stopped production. I had to pay a scalping price for. Luckily, I only paid like $30 per amiibo, so not too bad in the grand scheme of things. But still, had to pay extra for it because it just wasn't mass produced. So hopefully, this one is that way. If people want to pay that money to get that amiibo and get that functionality for the game, they can at least. It's still crummy that it's stuck behind that paywall, but I guess what can you do, right? It's Nintendo. My hope is just they don't do this going forward with specifically the 35th anniversary of Zelda. With the rumored collection of Twilight Princess and Wind Waker, and then the HD collection for Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time. I really hope they really do bundle those 4 games into 2 packages at least. There's no way they'll give us all those games in one. But if they do it individually, I just don't know if they can. I mean, they will get away with it.
You can't keep getting away with it! He can't keep getting away with it! He won't.
But I just don't know if people are going to spend $60 a pop for these games. I think they will bundle them, but it is Zelda. It's Nintendo's baby. It's their, not necessarily their biggest selling franchise ever. Obviously Breath of the Wild sold a tremendous amount, but so not their best selling franchise, but it's like the most beloved for not only them and their gamers. So I hope they take this 35th anniversary seriously, give us some really cool products at a decent value. I know we're going to be spending $60 for these packages. There's no questioning that, but just I hope we get a good amount of content within these games. I'm still holding hopes for Skyward Sword getting some additional content, whether that's like a new dungeon or something, kind of what they did with Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury. It's not looking good. Hopefully they'll announce something at E3 since it's coming out in July, but we'll see. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you think Nintendo is going to treat Zelda the 35th anniversary with the most respect for not only Zelda, but also for the fans, for the gamers? Let me know in the comments below. If you guys like this style of video, please consider giving this a like. It helps me out tremendously. And also subscribe to the channel if you can. I do videos like this all the time. I have a podcast that I co-host with my brother called Gaming with the Broscast, where we talk about this stuff all the time. And I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.